All right, thank you everyone for joining tonight. We are going to have a little bit of a fun class tonight, working on hips, hamstrings, and shoulders, playing with some fun transitions between poses and just exploring the fun side of yoga. So let's begin in a seated position. I will take Virasana on my shins, and if this isn't comfortable for you, you're welcome to sit in a cross-legged position. You could also use a block and sit on that to elevate the hips a little bit. It takes some of the pressure off the ankles, the shins, and the knees. Whatever feels good. And I'm going to sit at a bit of a diagonal so that you can see me as we move through the sequences in a seated position. But I'd like you to begin with breath. So we'll be taking one hand to the belly and one hand to the chest, just right above the heart space. And go ahead and close your eyes. Let your shoulders relax here. Let a sense of grounding and rooting take place as you draw your tailbone down. You extend your spine and lift up through the crown of the head. Beginning to feel yourself settling in and taking root. Just letting that kind of peaceful transition take place from the busyness of your day to the steadiness and the sacredness of your practice here on the mat. This might be a good time to kind of ask yourself, why do I practice, or what brings me to my mat tonight, or really at any time? What in essence does yoga mean for you? And for all of us, it will have a different meaning, perhaps on any given day. Maybe you discovered yoga through a gym class and you stayed because it offered you a sense of relaxation that you couldn't get through other forms of exercise or self-care. Many reasons that we find ourselves here, but just kind of dial that in for yourself tonight. And if it's helpful, maybe recall the translation of what yoga is. Yoga is that uniting, that connecting, that yoking together of our breath and our body. So at the very, very foundation, we come to yoga to create that union, linking together our breath and our bodies. Just to start to slip into that sensation now where you feel your body breathing. With one hand on the belly and one hand on the chest, can you really tune in to that inhalation and exhalation? As you breathe in, try to drop that breath down and into the belly center, even pushing down into the pelvic floor. And as you breathe out, can you feel your navel draw towards your spine as you press the breath out and you empty yourself? Begin to create a steady rhythm in this manner. Breathing deeply into the belly and feeling the palm rise as the belly inflates. And breathing out, feeling the navel contract, the ribs draw in as you breathe out. Here we begin to settle the mind as it starts to focus on the breath. And we notice that we are finding ourselves dropping into the present moment. And this is really the yoga. When the mind and the breath and the body unite, we find ourselves in this perfect present moment. Everything as it should be. Nothing needing any kind of modification or change. Now I'll invite you to take a deep breath into just your belly. So just contain that breath and hold it in your belly. And then exhale that breath out. This is a 3-part breathing. On the next breath in, draw the breath down to the belly and then let it rise up to the rib cage and just hold it there. So that the torso is about 2/3 full of breath. And then exhale to release that. On the 3rd part, we'll draw the inhale down into the belly, up through the ribs and all the way up to the center of the chest. Feeling that palm lift at the sternum, hold the breath. And then slowly exhale that out. One more like that, a deep full breath in from the belly, through the ribs, and all the way up to the chest, holding the breath at the top. And then open mouth, exhale to let it go. Beautiful. Release your hands to your thighs, palms facing up. Keep a nice steady rhythm of breath as we continue to move here. And as you inhale, curl your fingers into your hands, making a fist. And as you exhale, spread the palms open and reach the fingers wide, beginning to work on the hands and the wrists. Inhale to curl in and squeeze tight. Exhale to open and release. Widen the palms here, spread the fingers. Again, inhale to curl in, make a fist. And then exhale to spread the hands open. Last time, inhale, make a fist, curl it in nice and tight. And as you exhale, start to roll the wrists and bring your arms up to shoulder height. We're just going to take a couple of rotations in both directions, starting to warm up the wrist flexors, which get quite a bit of use in our practice. Take them in both directions. Don't worry about what it looks like. Just try to get some movement, a little lubrication here. Good. And then release, opening the palms up towards the sky. Take your left hand and reach for your right fingers and draw the fingertips back towards you as you press the heel of the hand away from you. Spread your right thumb out and away from the palm and get a good stretch into your flexor, into the wrist. Keep that right arm straight, relax your shoulders. Find some deep breaths here, in and out. And then you're gently going to release the fingers and reach underneath for the thumb. So you're going to grab your thumb from underneath and you're going to pull it back towards you, keeping that right palm open and the fingers spreading. Pressing the heel of the hand away, keep breathing some space into these joints. It can feel kind of intense, especially if you work with a mouse a lot. I can feel it. Good, and release if you need to give the hand and the wrist a little shake, feel free. And then we'll switch and take the other side. So grab your left fingers, palm facing up, draw them back towards you. Really try to get into it a little bit. You don't want to feel pain, but maybe a little bit of a, it's all right. Something where you're really feeling a stretch. Remember to kind of spread your thumb away from your palm and feel into this side. Perhaps your more dominant wrist is feeling, is going to feel this more than the other side. Good, and then release, reach underneath for your thumb, and then grab the thumb and draw it back while you continue to spread the palm open. This for me is really a super duper stretch. I really feel it here. Why that joint is as tight as it is, I don't know, but it is appreciating the stretch. Continue to breathe. Beautiful. All right, give that hand a little shake and then sweep both arms up and overhead. Let's interlace our hands and then flip the palms up to the sky. So maintain that nice long spine. Feel your rib cage getting long, the side waist getting long, and relax the inner shoulders here. We'll take a little rock from side to side, just moving the spine in a lateral direction. Nothing too intense, but just a way to kind of wake it up. Let it know we're going to be moving. Keep your head nice and relaxed and centered over the shoulders and the torso. And then come to stillness. We're going to drop the left elbow down and lift the right elbow up. So you're dropping your hands back behind you. And you should feel this as a pretty good stretch in your right shoulder. Keeping that left elbow down and relaxed. Your hands are behind your head. And then we're just going to up and over to the other side. So it's kind of like we're threading our shoulders here. I don't know, I sort of think of it like flossing, going back and forth with floss. And then at your own pace and in your own way, your own breath, just move between the two sides, getting a little bit of flexibility going here in the shoulders. Hopefully this feels good. Opening up across the front of the chest. Awesome. Good. And then circle your hands back behind you. So you can stay on your block if you're on a block, or you can lift off of it. Fingertips are going to point away from you. We're going to press into our shins, roll the shoulders back, and then begin to scoop your tailbone underneath and lift the hips. So you want to press the front of the hips forward, roll the shoulders back, lean into your finger pads, maybe look up, maybe even back. You can drop your head and open up the throat and the chest here as much as you would like. A nice little tuck of the tailbone, squeeze your glutes, and slowly come down. Now ground your left fingertips, rise up again, sweeping the right arm up this time. And let that right arm roll back and around, making a couple of circles. Beginning to oil up that shoulder joint on this side. If you're built like me, you might hear some cracks, some pops as this happens. Lower down, switch sides, right fingertips ground, left arm comes up, stretch it back, and then circle it out. Crunchy, crunchy, crunchy. That's the name of my body. Woo! All right, one more big circle, and then come on down. Tabletop, please. Bring your hands and your wrists underneath your shoulders and walk your knees back to stack underneath your hips. Spread your fingers nice and wide, and let's open up the spine with a few rounds of cow and cat. So you can take it traditionally, inhaling forward into your cow pose, exhaling, tucking and rounding into your cat pose, or you can add a little more freestyle and feel, a little more fluid, maybe rolling the chest like a barrel, taking a little more forward and back with hip rolls. Try to find something that really works with your body and speaks to your body as you open up the spine. What's beautiful about yoga is that there's so many ways to customize the practice to each and every one of our bodies and to the way that we feel on any given day. Just continue to move and breathe in synchronization, finding that yoga, uniting breath and body. We'll come to stillness. Tuck the toes under now, and as you press into the hands, float your knees off the mat. Feel your belly muscles engage, feel your inner thighs engage, and just start a gentle forward and back. Again, working into the wrists, strengthening the front and the back body as they work together. Take one more breath in. Downward facing dog as you breathe out. Press the hips high. Sink into your heels. Firmly press into your hands. Allow the ribs to draw back towards your thighs. Let your head go nice and heavy. Feel if you need to move here or if the body would like a little stillness. Takes whatever feels good for you and give your body what it needs. Stretching the tailbone high up to the sky, feeling very rooted in the hands and the feet. As we inhale, we'll come up high on our toes. So lift your heels high. Exhale, press the heels down towards the mat. Again, inhale, lifting high onto the toes. Exhale, pressing the heels away. Hello, hamstrings. Ground your right foot and let your left knee go slack. And even pick that left foot up off the floor. Really root that right heel down. Stretch deeply into your hamstring. Engage your legs here. Try to take some of the weight off of the wrist by pressing back into that leg. Switch sides, left foot down. Press the heel towards the mat. Float the right foot off the floor. Let the knee go soft. Really press the chest back as you engage that left leg. Stretching out. Beautiful, both feet to the mat. Inhale one more time, high on the toes. This time as you exhale, bend your knees deeply. Push your chest back towards your thighs. Root down through the roots of your toes. Inhale, now straighten the legs. Exhale, press the heels to the floor. Nice, let's take a walk towards the top of our mat and arrive in your forward fold. So depending on how tight those hamstrings are, you may need to bend generously into the knees. Wherever you are, let the head be heavy. Relax the neck and the shoulders. Maybe take a little sway from side to side. Maybe wrap your hands behind your calves, drawing the chest closer to the thighs. Wherever you are, just experience this pose for what it is, a deep inversion. Upside down, folding in, feeling the weight a little more in our toes rather than in our heels. Let's add a nice stretch for our IT band. So working the outer hip now. Bring your left hand to the mat or to a block, either one, right in front of your left foot. Bend your left knee and keep your right leg straight. We're going to twist open to the right, bringing that right arm up. And rotating the chest so that the left ribs come underneath us and the right ribs lift up. Now try to really keep that right leg straight. You should be feeling a good stretch through the glutes and the outer hip here. Open that top hand, wiggle your fingers. Really rotate through the center. And then exhale, soften to release back to your forward fold. We'll take the other side, bend into the right knee, right fingertips to the mat or a block. Left leg straight, we're going to turn from the very center of our belly as we lift that left arm up. Press down into your left heel from the very top of your hip, right from the left glute down through the outer hip. And see if you can rotate just a little bit more, wrapping your ribs underneath you. One more breath in, and then exhale to soften and release. Let it all go. Give it a shake out. Let your head hang heavy. And then on the next breath in, let's bring fingertips to shins as we straighten the spine. Coming into Ardha Uttanasana. Pull your navel in strongly towards your belly or towards your spine. And then lengthen your spine from tailbone to crown. Look out past the top of your mat. Flatten the back as much as you can, shoulders draw back. Take a deep breath in and exhale to soften and fold. Inhale, now press into your feet, strengthen your legs, sweep the arms in a big circle up and overhead as you rise. Let your hands meet overhead. And then exhale from the hips, you're going to hinge right back down, leading with the heart. Halfway lift, little half sun salutations here to warm up the body. Exhale to fold, dive in, maybe you come a little bit closer to your thighs. Rooting to rise, we come all the way up, circling the arms all the way overhead. And exhale one more time, pull the navel in as you come down with that flat back. Halfway lift. Folding in. Rising with strong legs, push into your feet, float your arms overhead, and then exhale, take it down. Last time. Halfway lift here. We're going to step our left foot back into a lunge. Frame out your right foot, stack your right knee over your right ankle. Press back through your left heel as you stretch that hamstring out and the front of your left hip. This should feel pretty good. Try to keep your chest lifted. Try not to round. If you're rounding, maybe you want to bring yourself up onto blocks. We'll lower the back knee down. You can keep your back toes tucked or untucked and rise up, bringing the arms up and overhead. Just feel into that left hip, getting a good stretch in the hip flexor. Draw your tailbone down. Keep your inner shoulders relaxed. Keep your core engaged. Now we'll float that right arm back and the left arm forward as we twist in towards our bent knee. So do your best to open your chest to the long side of the mat and reach out through your fingertips. Hug that front heel in towards that back knee. Find a little lift here. Take a deep breath in. On the exhale, drop your back hand to your back thigh and sweep that left arm up. Maybe you sink a little bit deeper. You'll really feel this in your left hip. Take a deep breath in here, smile, breathe. Good job, guys. Exhale, left hand to the mat, left knee comes up, right arm comes up, twisting lunge. Rotating the ribs around, stacking your left wrist and your right, making a T shape with your arms. Press back through that back heel one more time. Pull your right hip back a little bit more. Don't let it wing out. Take one more breath in. Exhale, hand comes down. Let's step back to plank pose. Now you can take plank with your knees down if you prefer. Wherever you are, you're going to press into your hands and keep your chest lifted up and away from the floor. If your knees are lifted, really draw your tailbone back towards your heels. Engage your thighs. Create a little rounding between the shoulder blades. Keep your neck in line with your spine. One more breath in. On the exhale, shift forward, bend the elbows, and lower to the belly. Keep the elbows tucked in, untuck your toes, and on the in-breath, using your back muscles, lift up into baby cobra. Roll the shoulders back and down. Try to keep very little weight into the hands. Plug the tops of the feet into the mat, and exhale to come down. Two more like that. Inhale, lifting. Shine your heart forward. Draw your shoulders down your back. Exhale to lower. Last time, inhale, baby cobra. Roll the shoulders back, shine your heart, and exhale to release. Let's make our way back to downward facing dog, coming through hands and knees, pressing those hips high, dropping the heels low. Take a deep breath in, open mouth, let it go. Shake your head out. Release and let go of something here. Feel good. We're moving our body. We're syncing our breath up with the movement. We're doing yoga. It's a beautiful thing. Where else would you want to be? Let's look forward at our thumbs. We can bend the knees and either walk or perhaps hop back to the top of the mat. Take that halfway lift, re-engage your spine here, and then exhale to soften and to fold. Coming a little closer, perhaps, nose between the knees. Inhale now, rising, pressing into the feet. Take your arms up and overhead, and exhale will come right back down. Lead with your heart as you melt towards the earth. Halfway lift. This time, stepping our right leg back, left knee is forward, finding our lunge on this side. We'll take a moment here with the knee lifted to really stretch it out. Pressing back through that right heel, maybe coming up onto blocks or fingertips to keep the chest lifted and not collapsing on top of our thigh. Big, big stretch into that right hip. On an exhale, we'll release the knee down. Rise up, bringing the arms overhead, and just settle into the pose. Keeping the breath nice and even, really leaning into it as you need to. This time, our left arm is going to circle back, our right arm comes forward as we take that twist. Really moving the belly towards the left, the ribs and the shoulder, and then reaching out in opposite directions. Fire up your fingertips. Take a nice breath in. As you exhale, lean back. Find your thigh with your left hand and then lift that right arm up and overhead. Maybe you drop into your hip a little bit more. Woo, big stretch. Keep your breath steady. One more breath in. On the exhale, right hand comes down, right knee floats up, left arm comes up. Twisting now in towards our left thigh. Rolling our ribs underneath us. Reaching up through the left hand, pulling that left hip crease back. Take one more deep breath in. On the exhale, frame out the foot, step back to plank, please. Again, option to lower to your knees if you need to. We're just building some strength here. So try to make it fun. I think this is fun. Try to make it fun any way that you can. And just know that you're doing something really good for your body. Let's inhale, rock forward onto the toes. Exhale, take it all the way down to the belly one more time. This time, hands will come off the mat. You're going to tent your fingertips and stack your elbows over your wrists. Ground the top of the feet and inhale, push into your finger pads, rise up. This is more like a gecko pose. Maybe you can get a little bit higher in this variation. I know I can. On the exhale, we'll take it down. Again, inhale, come up. This time, look over your right shoulder, so a little twist. And then exhale, lower down. One more time, come up, look over the left, a little twist. And exhale to lower down. Beautiful, guys. Slide your hands alongside your lower ribs, coming up through hands and knees, or maybe straight up through plank this time. Back to downward facing dog. Again, big breath in here. Cleansing breath out. Let it go with a ha. Release all that. Take a moment here to check in with your breath and to notice any changes in the body. Notice where your thoughts are, how you're feeling, how the body's doing. Always nice to kind of check in downward facing dog. All right, transition time, kind of fun time here. Hang in there with me, let's have some fun. As we inhale, let's bring that right leg up. And on the exhale, we're gonna bend the knee and open the hip. So you're stacking your right hip on top of your left, more or less. Your shoulders stay square, however, and you wanna press equally through both hands. Find some movement here. Maybe you want to roll out your ankle. Maybe you want to draw big circles with your knee. Release anything that's stuck in there. You may hear a little cracking or popping as that happens. This is good stuff, though. Circle in the opposite direction if you're taking that. All right, and then keeping the knee bent, come forward into plank pose. And that knee is going to come towards the elbow. And then we're going to roll to our left. So onto the outer edge of the left foot, the right toes are going to drop behind you. You're going to sweep that right arm up, coming into wild thing. This is such a fun pose. Great stretch for the front line of the body, chest and heart opener, Strengthening that left shoulder, opening the hips, squeeze your glutes. Take one more breath in, let your head go. Really get joyful in this pose. And as you exhale, back to either three-legged dog or downward facing dog. I know that's a big one, so whatever suits you. Take a deep breath in. Lift your right leg if it isn't already. And on the exhale, we're going to step it through. Take a moment. Stack your knee over your ankle. You're going to be on the ball of the back foot. Maybe take your hands to your hips. Rise up, crescent lunge, high lunge. Once you feel steady, you'll bring your arms overhead, but just take your time. If you need to widen your stance, walk your feet a little bit broader and make sure that your knee is over your ankle. Finding your arms, reach them up and overhead. Taking a nice deep breath in here. Strengthen your legs and push through that back heel as you breathe out. Maybe sinking into that front knee. Lots going on here, even though it looks like a very simple pose. Can you feel this from the inside out? Right? Standing poses bring us stamina and strength. So can you really kind of tune into the essence of this? Take one more breath in. On the exhale, bring the hands down to frame out the foot and straighten your front leg coming into a runner's lunge. This is a big, big hammy stretch. So if your leg can't come to straight, I get it. Do whatever feels right here. You want to keep encouraging that right hip crease back. Maybe plug your right big toe into the mat and draw some energy straight up the front of your leg. Option to draw the toes back and to plug the heel into the mat, going deeper into the hamstring. Your choice. Try to get comfortable in the pose. Find a balance between effort and ease. You're taking another deep breath in. Exhale it out. We'll inhale to rebend into the knee. Exhale back to plank if you'd like to take a vinyasa, or just back to downward facing dog, your choice. If you'd like to take a vinyasa, come to plank, lower to the belly or halfway down for chaturanga. Inhale into cobra or upward facing dog if you're ready for that. If you're in dog, hands and tops of the feet are touching the mat, knees are floating. One more breath in as you roll your shoulders back, lift your heart. Exhale, take it back, downward facing dog. Let's take a couple breaths here. Centering yourself back in your dog. Remember, you can always skip what I'm suggesting. You can always modify and do something else, right? This is just guidance, but it's really you that's the teacher. So please follow your own body and listen to it carefully. All right, fun transition, other side. Left leg comes up, bend the knee and go ahead and open up the hip. So really sink that right heel down at the same time, and then maybe roll out your ankle, maybe circle the knee. Keep the shoulders square to the top of the mat. And try to keep some lightness in the pose, right? It's not all about heaviness. We want to be light in our body and light in our thoughts. All right, keeping the knee bent, come back into that hip opener. And as you inhale, come forward into plank. Maybe your knee touches your elbow. Then roll onto the right side of your foot. Drop your left toes behind you. Lift your left arm. You're facing the long side of your mat. Pressing into your right hand. Balancing on your left toes and the knife edge of your right foot. Let your head go here. Shine your heart up. Stretch out the front line of the body. And take another breath in. On the exhale, let's come back, maybe to three-legged dog or just downward facing dog, whatever you find. Stretch it out. One more breath in, lift the left leg if it isn't. And on the exhale, step that foot forward between the hands, round into the ball of the back foot. Take your hands to your hips and rise up to high lunge. The object is to keep that back leg as straight as possible and the front knee as bent as possible. Hips are squaring towards the top of the mat. Once you feel grounded, float your arms up and overhead. Breathe. Enjoy your breath here. Lean into it. Really appreciate your breath and appreciate your body for all the amazing things that it can and is doing. Strengthen the legs, take a deep breath in. On the exhale, hands to the mat, frame out the foot, and then straighten that left leg, coming into runner's lunge on this side. So, any variation here with that left toe grounded, or maybe toes pulled back towards the shin. You can keep your gaze more forward, or you can fold as deeply over that front thigh as it feels good to you. We're working on that hamstring. So get into it as best you can. Try not to avoid it, but love it up. Breathe into it. You could even do a little self-massage if you wanted to, right? Rubbing out those muscles. Why not? Beautiful. One more breath in. Let's come forward, bending into the knee. On the exhale, back to plank and just hold and breathe. Last time through plank, I think. Back to downward facing dog, pressing those hips high. All right, look forward and bring your thumbs to touch in the middle of the mat, and spreading your hands out nice and wide. Bend your knees and step your left foot outside of your left hand and your right foot outside of your right hand. We're coming into Malasana at the top of our mats. So those elbows are going to find your inner knees. Spread them open as you press your palms together. As you drop your tailbone down, you're going to lift your heart up. One of my favorite poses, I know you guys know that, but there's reason for that. It's a really good pose. It's great for opening up the low back, opening up the hips, stretching out the glutes, all that good stuff. Keep the tailbone dropping down. Keep your heart lifting, spine is long. For anyone who wants a little extra, release your right fingertips off to the right in front of your right shin, and then take a twist, lifting your left arm up. So you're kind of plugging that right shoulder inside of your right knee, turning open to the left, back to center, switch it out, left fingertips, cross the shin, tuck that shoulder, and then turn and open the right arm up to the sky. Woo! One more breath in. And then exhale, take it down. Hands come back to heart. Breathe in. As you breathe out, bring the fingertips to the mat. Drop your head down, lift your hips, and heel toe your feet in underneath you, hips width distance apart. Let's just forward fold here. Shake it out. Let it go. Take a moment to feel into your body. Notice how you're breathing. Has anything changed there? Maybe a little more elevated? Yeah, even it out. All right, let's slowly roll ourselves up to stand. Go ahead and sweep the arms up and then bring your hands overhead and drop them down to your heart center. All right, we should be feeling pretty good, pretty warmed up now. We'll take it into some fun other transitions. So I'll stay here at the top of my mat so you can see me from the side, and sweep the arms up and overhead. Actually, I might turn around to face you. And let's sink down into Utkatasana, chair pose. So you want to set your weight into your heels and keep your toes nice and light. You want to pull your belly in towards your spine and drop those hips as much as you can. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, just airplane the arms back, palms face down. Squeeze your shoulder blades onto your back. Stay low. Good. Inhale, arms reach overhead. Exhale, sweep it back. Palms face the mat. Squeeze the shoulder blades. Last time, inhale, arms up. And exhale, take it back. This time as we rise up, just your right foot stays on the mat, your left knee comes up. Sweep the arms. We're coming to balance on that right foot. And we're going to take our arms into eagle arms. So bring them out to the side. Bring your left arm forward. Right crosses on top. Bend at the elbows. And if you fall out of this, and I may well, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Just come back into it. Stay here, or full expression, wrap that left thigh over the right. Bend into the knee, drop the hips down. And this is a big joint opener for both the shoulders and the hips. So sink as low as you can. Try to keep your torso upright. Press your forearms away from you. Woo. And just lean into the wiggles and the wobbles. They'll happen. One more deep breath in. Good work, guys. Exhale, hands to hips. We're going to step that left foot back behind us about 3 feet. So not a big distance. Square the hips a little bit. Position those left toes up towards the upper corner of your mat. And then take your hands back behind you. We'll find a clasp here. Coming into a variation of pyramid pose. Another nice hamstring opener. Take a breath in, drop the knuckles down. Lift your heart up, look up. On the exhale, hinge forward from your hips. Maybe come halfway down. Draw that right hip back a little more. And then on the exhale, fold deeply over. If this arm bind isn't for you, you can bring your hands down to the mat. You could take reverse prayer behind you. Lots of options here. Just adding a shoulder opener kind of feels like a nice addition to this pose. Take one more deep breath in. Long exhale out. You want to feel like your inner thighs are kind of rolling in towards one another and back towards the back edge of your mat. One more breath. And exhale to release. Step your left foot up to meet your right. Come into your forward fold. Let everything hang. Notice the difference here between the two sides. Slowly roll yourself up to stand. Floating the arms up and overhead. And exhale. Bring your hands to your heart center. Pause, take a breath. I need a sip. All right, and the arms come up and overhead. You may want to heel toe your toes a little bit closer to one another with kind of a wedge opening between the heels. I like to take Utkatasana in this variation. Some of you might just prefer your feet to be hips width distance apart. Take your arms overhead, exhale back to chair pose. Dropping the hips back and down, reaching out through your fingertips. Weight into the heels so toes are nice and light. Take a deep breath in. Exhale to airplane the arms back. So palms face down. Squeeze the blades onto the back body. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale to take it back. Last time, inhale up. Exhale back. This time as we come up, left leg stands, right knee draws up with you. Come into your balance. Take a moment here. And even if you fall out of it, it's fine. Just meet us back. Take your arms out to a T. We'll bring the right arm forward. And then place the left arm on top. Bend at the elbows. Find a wrap. Here comes blue. And then if you feel like it, let's venture into full expression. Cross your right thigh over your left, bend into your left knee, drop the hips down, sink into or eagle pose, garudasana. Press your forearms away. Bend deeply into that knee. Try to stack your shoulders over your hips. Wow. All right, big breath in. Let's rise up. Hands to hips. Right foot steps back about 3 feet. Angle the hips towards the top of your mat. And then angle the toes out towards the top corner of your mat. Let's take that bind back behind us. If you can, switch it up so the opposite thumb is on top. And then drawing the knuckles down, lift your chest up with your gaze. On the exhale, you're going to fold forward. So try to keep the legs as straight as possible. Keep encouraging your left hip crease back. Breathing in and breathing out. Really getting deep into those hamstrings. If the bind is not your cup of tea, go ahead and release the hands down. And just practice your deep, focused, intentional breaths here. Beautiful. Take one more breath in. And then exhale, release the hands down. Bend into your front knee. Let's step it all the way back to plank. And we're going to lower all the way to our bellies. Slide your forearms forward for Sphinx pose, turning the palms down, tops of the feet to the mat. Stack your elbows and your shoulders. And as you breathe in, energetically kind of draw your elbows back towards your rib cage, lift your heart, and slide your shoulder blades down your back. Breathing in, breathing out, grounding the tops of the feet, pressing into the front of the hips and the thighs. Oh, such a beautiful back bend. Good, and then gently release. We'll bring the left forearm to parallel to the top of your mat. Bend into your right knee and reach back with your right hand, coming into a half bow pose. So you can lower down as you draw your heel towards your outer hip, or you can stay lifted to make it a little bit more active. Your choice, but really feel the opening in that quadricep. Try to let the front of your right hip go kind of soft and slack as you press it into the mat. Roll your right shoulder back if you're lifted. Take your gaze and your chest forward. Ooh, nice deep stretch here. And then slowly release. Switch sides. Right forearm parallel to the top of the mat. Swing your left hand back. Grab the foot. Draw it as close to you as you can. Staying low if you'd like, or lifted. If you're lifted, wrap that left shoulder back. Take your gaze forward. Soften into the front of your left hip. Get a good stretch there. Keep breathing. Beautiful. And slowly release. Let's take it back to child's pose. So bring the big toes to touch, widen the knees, please. And then sink the hips back as you drop your chest down in between your thighs. You can ground your forehead here, or you could make a little pillow by stacking your hands. Whatever might feel nice and relaxing. Try to breathe into the back of the body so that you could feel the back of the heart, the back of the ribs, the low back, all lifting on your in-breath. Soften into the hips. Soften the shoulders. Reconnect with your breath. And then rising up to tabletop. Here's our last little hip blast. So once you're in tabletop, you're going to take your right knee forward and you're going to thread it in front of your left knee. So you're going to cross it right in front of your left. I'll turn this way. And you're going to open your feet to opposite sides of your mat. Now, you can just sink your hips back here, walk your hands forward and sink your hips back, and you may just be perfect there, feeling a good outer hip stretch. If you'd like to go to full expression, you're going to walk your hands back until your sit bones drop down in between your heels. This is gomukasana pose or cow face pose. So this is pretty intense. It's a big stretch for that right IT band. If you feel any wonkiness in your knee, I wouldn't do it. You could take maybe pigeon on your back or something like that. There will probably be a gap here. More than likely there will be a gap. Don't worry about it. You could also do a half variation by extending your bottom leg and just taking a half variation, stacking the knees over one another. Wherever you are, appreciate what your body can do in this moment. If you are sitting in the full expression, get both sit bones onto the ground. This right one probably wants to hike up. If that's not possible, pad it up with a blanket or a block and just do the best that you can. So the goal is to get the knees to stack. I don't know. I'm not sure I'll ever get there, but it's a good goal. Just appreciate where you are. No judgment, right? This is a big, juicy hip opener, so do your best. Smile and breathe through it. Woo. If you want to intensify it, you can walk your hands forward. I don't think I need that. All right, to unwind, we're going to lean back and you're just going to slowly unwind the legs. You may want to bring them to straight first and give them a good shimmy or a shake out. Anything that feels kind of organic or intuitive, please follow that. And then we'll come back into tabletop for the other side. Wow, I can feel it. I hope you can too. So threading that left knee across and in front of the right, separating your feet as wide as the mat, maybe just pressing back, sinking the hips down. This could be enough for you right here. Or walking it back and letting the sit bones ground. So one side may come more easily than the other. Right? Just appreciate that. And if you can do it with ease, great. Right? Sit tall. Take the other variations if you need to, perhaps extending that right leg if you want to just do a half variation. Close the eyes. Notice how you feel on this side. Breathing in and breathing out. Beautiful. All right, let's lean back and carefully unwind your legs. This time, take them as wide as your mat. Let's do a little windshield wiper back and forth. So let the knees drop from side to side. Wow, even this feels pretty intense. And then we're going to take a twist. So once your knees are both over to the right side, take a twist all the way back behind you. So you're going to walk your hands towards the back of your mat, keeping your legs where they are. Maybe you drop down to your forearms. Maybe you stay upright. You can feel this in your hips and your low back. Just wringing out the spine. Taking our last few breaths here. And then gently bringing yourself upright. Carefully unwind back to center. Drop both knees over to the left, and then keep walking your torso all the way around to the back, staying upright here, or perhaps coming down lower. Deep stretch into the back, feeling that twist, kind of wringing out the internal organs, the muscles along the length of the spine. Take another full breath in here. Exhale it out. And then begin to bring yourself upright. Unwind and take yourself all the way down to the mat. Full body stretch. You have earned a trip to your back. Reach out long in both directions. Oh, extending through the toes and the fingers. And then if you need any other pose before Shavasana, feel free to find that now. Otherwise, I invite you just to come right into our final pose. Taking your feet as wide as your mat, turning your palms up, walking your shoulder blades away from the spine. Tuck your tailbone, relax your thighs, soften everything into the mat. And allow yourself one more big breath in. Really, really fill yourself up here. Release it with a sigh and let your entire body just sink into your floor. Let your jaw go slack. Let your eyes soften. Release any control of your breath. Just breathe naturally here. Maybe you can fall into the rhythm of breath by listening to Blue. I don't know if you can hear him snoring, but he's doing a perfect Shavasana. Fully relaxed. This is the time where your body integrates all your effort. This is the time when each cell gets filled up and rejuvenated. This is really sacred and special time for yourself, your body, your spirit, all for renewal and restoration, kind of resetting all of our buttons. Really allow yourself the time and the space to be here. Reminding yourself that there's nothing to do or achieve. You just get to be. Keeping your eyes closed and your body still, just begin to invite awareness in. Feeling yourself in space. Listening to sounds near and far. Feeling temperature and air. Noting how your body feels. And then we'll gently invite both knees into the chest. Give yourself a nice hug here and take a few rocks from side to side. Gently rolling out the low back, rolling out the spine. And then roll off to one side and just support your head with your arm. Come into a fetal position and just pause here for a moment. think of something that you're grateful for here. Whatever first pops into your mind, your heart. And just pause with that thought, that feeling. And we'll slowly bring ourselves up to a seat. Crossing legs or sitting on shins, whatever feels nice. And gently bring the palms to meet together in front of the heart. Close your eyes here. With the thumbs pressing into your heart space, just remind yourself that our heart knows what our mind has forgotten. Whenever we seem to lose our way, it's because the mind has taken over and we've forgotten to connect with our heart. All the answers lie within. Let your heart shine. Let your beautiful soul shine. We'll bring our thumbs to our third eye center and we'll bow to that light within. Namaste. It was an honor and a pleasure. Thank you all for showing up tonight. I hope the hips, the hamstrings, the shoulders are all happier for it. And I look forward to seeing you guys again. Thank you for joining.